Hi, everybody. This is Tony Khan, the producer and director of Morning Stories from WGBH in Boston. Take my friend Bill Henderson. He's a wonderful author and musician. Quite a while ago, he wrote his first novel called Stark Raving Elvis, which was about an Elvis impersonator. A few books later, he was asked to write another book about the lives of Elvis impersonators, just to take advantage of the success of his first book. So to do it right, he went on the road with Elvis impersonators around the country. The next thing I knew, Bill had become an Elvis impersonator. For research, he said. For fun. For years. Even after the book came out, Bill was still impersonating Elvis. But then he finally managed to come back home and return to the path that most of us walk. But there are some others for whom walking with Elvis may never end. One of them is our storyteller today. His name is Jim E. Curtin, and we call his morning story A State of Elvis.
I was backstage in his dressing room in Vegas, and I asked for a souvenir. He went into his dressing room, and he brought out a jumpsuit, cradled in his arms, and he handed it to me. I grabbed my face. I went, "Oh my God, Elvis, it's beautiful." And I hugged him. I told him I loved him, and he says, "I love you too, Jimmy." The guy was just so sweet, so nice, so mannerly. He was just a down-to-earth human being that was just nice to everybody. I seen him perform 51 times. Went to 29 concerts in Vegas. I was in his company over a dozen times. When they released Elvis's movies in the theater, I went out to watch him 6 times, 10 times, even as many as 20 times. Everything that was ever released on Elvis. And eventually, of course, I achieved over 50,000 pieces in the collection.
You give your hand to me, and then you say hello.
I was obsessed.
And I can hardly speak.
Obsessed.
My heart is beating so.
The enjoyment that I had and the pleasure that I had with this collection was the greatest joy that ever occurred in my life, with the exception of Renata.
No, you don't know the one.
Renata. We dated, and I truly loved her with all my heart and soul, but I had a lot of problems. Within a 2-year span, I had 5 people die on me. My mother, my father, my brother, my fan club president, my uncle, and my mother left me a lot of debt. My goal was to achieve a big business deal in the publishing industry. Wipe the slate clean, marry Renata. Well, after 12 years and a lot of heartache, I never got around to marrying her. I took it for granted. And one day she left. To prove my love to her, I decided to sell the entire collection. I thought that selling the collection was going to be the answer. I felt it was very romantic, but it was too late. She already found somebody else.
Home is where the heart is, and my heart.
I've contacted Renata at least 15 or 20 times in the last 3 years through poetry, photographs with our memories, Christmas presents, birthday presents, love letters. But I guess she had to move on. I guess I got to survive, and the only way I'm going to survive and overcome the heartache, because I've probably cried about 3,000 times since she's left, is to continue the music.
Maybe
Every human being is involved in evolution. You go from the little boy to the collector to the follower, and then I achieved the goal beyond the obsession into becoming Elvis.
When your heart gets restless, time to move along.
Which is a whole different plateau.
But when a dream is calling you, there's just one thing that you can do.
The last final stage in the life of Jimmy Curtin, anyway, is love.
You gotta follow that dream, I watch you walk away.
Elvis, he just He was just a down-to-earth human being that was just nice to everybody. Keep singing Elvis's songs, make the public happy while I'm dying inside.
That was Jimmy Curtin in A State of Elvis, today's morning story. I'm here in the studio with the real Gary Mott. Thank you very much, Gary.
Thank you, Tony. A heartbreaking story. I mean, this guy is having a hard time dealing with life.
And an unfinished story, it seems to me, still.
This is a story about how people are going to let you down, but there's always the music. There's always Elvis.
I wonder, does Elvis really have what it takes? I used to have this argument with my wife all the time. She thought The Princess Di, for instance, was for the ages. And I said, well, you know what? I'm not so sure, because you know what Di doesn't have that Elvis does have? That's a body of work.
The music.
You know, the art is longer than the life. And without that, what are people going to connect to? I'm not so sure.
40 years from now, morning stories, podcasts. Who are these guys?
Speaking, in fact, about podcasting, and this is kind of the big news of the week, we made it a lot easier for people who are new to podcasting to download. Right, Gary?
Now, when you go to wgbh.org/morningstories, you will find a list of our recent podcasts for manual download.
Right. Just click on them and you'll be able to start hearing them or download them right away.
A link that invites you to comment on each of the podcasts.
What we're really saying with that link is Morning Stories isn't just the stories that we're telling you, but the stories that you're telling us.
And we really designed this website for the unconverted. So if you've got friends who don't know about podcasting yet, tell them to go to our webpage.
And if you don't have friends, this may be kind of a good way to get them. They'll be instantly rewarded. Think of it as like, for those who haven't heard podcasts, this will be their first date with podcasting.
Yeah.
And if they like it, they'll come back for more.
We can only hope.
We have faith. One of the reasons that we have faith also is that we have Ipswitch, a leader in file transfer software, our sponsor. Check their website out, too, if you'd like. It's ipswitch.com, IPSWITCH.
And our email address,
right.
morningstories@wgbh.org. But go to the website. You can get there from there, from here.
And bring a friend.
And bring a friend. Make a friend. And we'll be your friend.
No matter what. In fact, we'll be back next Friday with another morning story. So we'll see you then.
A poor man wants an oyster, a rich man wants a pearl. But the man who can sing when he hasn't got a thing is a king of the whole wide world. Come on, let's sing. Sing, brother, sing. 'Cause the man who can sing when he hasn't got a thing is a king of the whole wide world. A rich man wants a princess.